Chapter 13. Crisis and Choice After the Crystal's Breakage. After experiencing the crisis of the space phantoms, Mu and Lin Feng continued to explore along the clues of the floating crystal arrangement. They searched carefully around, leaving no corner unexamined. Finally, on a seemingly ordinary wall, Mu discovered some faint patterns that matched the arrangement pattern of the crystals. "Lin Feng, come over quickly. I've found something," Mu shouted excitedly. Lin Feng rushed over immediately, and the two of them studied these patterns together. After some observation, they found that these patterns seemed to form the shape of an arrow, pointing to one side of the wall. "Could there be a hidden passage here?" Lin Feng guessed. Mu didn't answer. He followed the direction of the arrow and groped on the wall. Suddenly, he touched a protrusion. With a gentle press, a soft sound came from the wall, and a stone slowly moved aside, revealing a pitch-black hole. A pungent smell filled the hole, and a low growl could be faintly heard. It seemed that there was something dangerous inside. Mu and Lin Feng exchanged a glance, a trace of hesitation flashing in their eyes. "Should we go in?" Lin Feng asked, a hint of worry in his voice. Mu took a deep breath and said, "We've come this far. Let's go in and take a look. Maybe we can find the key to unlocking all the mysteries." The two entered the hole cautiously. Inside was a narrow passage that could only accommodate one person at a time. Some stones emitting a faint glow were inlaid on the walls of the passage, barely illuminating the way ahead. They advanced slowly along the passage, and the growl became clearer. Suddenly, a huge black behemoth appeared in front of them. This behemoth resembled a lion, but its body was covered with sharp spines, and its eyes glowed red. Its massive body almost blocked the entire passage, exuding a terrifying aura. "What kind of monster is this?" Lin Feng exclaimed in a low voice. His grip on the sword tightened involuntarily, and his knuckles turned white from the force. Mu also felt unprecedented pressure. The spiritual power fluctuations emitted by this behemoth were extremely powerful, far beyond any opponent they had faced before. But it was too late to retreat at this point, so they could only brace themselves to deal with it. The behemoth opened its huge mouth and let out a deafening roar. A stream of hot air mixed with a stench rushed towards them. Mu and Lin Feng quickly dodged to the side and immediately circulated their spiritual power. Mu condensed his spiritual power in his palm to form a spiritual power shield, holding it in front of him. Lin Feng seized the opportunity to infuse his spiritual power into his sword, trying to find a chance to attack the behemoth's weakness. The behemoth clearly sensed their resistance. It pawed at the ground with its front hooves, shattering the stones on the ground instantly, and then charged towards Mu. Mu tried his best to hold up the spiritual power shield. However, the behemoth's power was too great, and the shield trembled violently under the impact, with fine cracks appearing. "Mu, hold on! I'll draw it away," Lin Feng shouted and rushed towards the side of the behemoth, swinging his sword at its leg. The behemoth yelped in pain, temporarily giving up its attack on Mu and turning its target to Lin Feng. It swung its tail covered with sharp spines, like a huge mace, and swept towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't dodge in time and was hit by the tail. His body crashed heavily into the wall of the passage, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Seeing this, Mu was extremely anxious. He concentrated all his spiritual power into the spiritual power shield and then suddenly charged at the behemoth, hitting its head hard with the shield. The behemoth was slightly dazed by this unexpected attack. It shook its head and let out an angry roar. Taking this opportunity, Mu shouted, "Lin Feng, let's attack its eyes together. That might be its weakness." Lin Feng endured the pain, struggled to his feet, and rushed towards the behemoth again. The two of them, one on the left and the other on the right, coordinated their attacks on the behemoth's eyes. Sensing the danger, the behemoth kept turning its body to avoid their attacks. But Mu and Lin Feng did not flinch and seized every opportunity to launch an attack. After a fierce confrontation, Mu finally found an opening. He aimed at the moment when the behemoth blinked and condensed his spiritual power into a sharp blade, stabbing it into the behemoth's eye. The blade accurately pierced the behemoth's eye, and the behemoth let out a painful scream, struggling wildly. Its body twisted violently in the passage. Cracks appeared on the walls of the passage, and stones kept falling. Lin Feng seized the opportunity and stabbed his sword into the behemoth's other eye. The behemoth completely lost its sight, and its movements became chaotic. It rampaged through the passage. Mu and Lin Feng took the opportunity to retreat along the passage, avoiding the behemoth's frantic attacks. After a while, the behemoth's struggles gradually weakened, and it finally fell to the ground, motionless. Mu and Lin Feng gasped for breath, looking at the behemoth on the ground. Their hearts were filled with both fear and relief. This battle had almost exhausted all their strength, but it also made them more aware that the road to exploring the secrets of the back mountain was full of difficulties and obstacles. However, before they could rest, a series of click-click sounds suddenly came from the passage. The two were startled. They saw that the walls of the passage began to collapse rapidly, and stones rained down. "Not good! The passage is going to collapse! You have to get out of here quickly!" Sumu shouted, grabbing Lin Feng and running desperately towards the entrance of the passage. They ran in the collapsing passage, with stones rolling down behind them, raising a cloud of dust. Just as the passage was about to completely collapse, Sumu and Lin Feng finally rushed out. As soon as they came out, the passage behind them was completely buried and the raised dust filled the entire space. Sumu and Lin Feng slumped to the ground, looking at the buried passage, filled with mixed feelings. This crisis made them realize that every exploration might face a life and death choice, but their determination to explore the secrets of the back mountain became even stronger. After a short rest, Sumu stood up, looked at the floating crystals around him, and said, "Lin Feng, although it's full of dangers, we're getting closer to the truth. We can't give up." Lin Feng nodded and said, "Yes, no matter how many difficulties there are, we'll face them together." The two cheered up again and continued to look for clues to unlock the secrets of the back mountain. They knew that what awaited them ahead might be even more severe tests, but they were ready to forge ahead bravely,